Glenn back.
Wow. We want to play a little bit of what the president now is said yesterday. Now, I want you to know that what is happening on the streets and verified by the New York Times. This isn't just us now. This is the New York Times as well. What is happening on the streets is a very well organized movement. It is organized by the left, by the labor unions, by the communists, by the Islamic radicals, the Muslim Brotherhood. It is organized. And it is the youth. And tonight on television, we're going to show you a timeline. The timeline of what they have announced is going to happen in advance and how it's all happened. It is not happenstance. This is community organizing. Make no mistake, community organizing on a global scale. Listen to what the president said yesterday in his speech.
I just want to say that we are following today's events in Egypt very closely. And we'll have more to say as this plays out. But what is absolutely clear is that we are witnessing history unfold. It's a moment of transformation.
Stop. It is a moment of transformation. Fundamental transformation, Mr. President? Would you call this fundamental transformation? It's a moment of transformation. You need to open up your mind and listen and read between the lines with this guy. It is a moment of transformation. Okay, go ahead.
Taking place because the people of Egypt are calling for change.
Stop. It's happening because the people of Egypt are calling for change. Don't even know what that means, Mr. President, other than it's your campaign slogan. The people of Egypt are calling for change. Remember what the New York Times has now verified, and we have told you for the last 3 weeks, this is organized. But the people are calling for change. Well, what people, Mr. President? What people? Listen.
They've turned out in extraordinary numbers representing all ages and all walks of life. But it's young people who've been at the forefront.
Stop. Do you hear him? Listen to his voice when he says, but it's young people who have been at the forefront. This is an inspirational moment to him. It's young people. You remember, they don't care about the old people here. They didn't care about what old people said about health care. They called the Tea Parties a bunch of old people. They have only gone for the Jon Stewart crowd. They are into the colleges. They are into the universities. They are organizing youth like nobody's business. Old people, we have all said this since before the last election. This is the first administration and the first campaign that has ever been run where they don't reach out to the older generation. He's inspirational. It's the young people who have done this.
A new generation, your generation, who want their voices to be heard. And so going forward, we want those young people and we want all Egyptians to know America will continue to do everything that we can to support an orderly and genuine transition to democracy in Egypt.
Stop. I don't care what anybody says. That is the President of the United States inspiring the youth and of the world and saying, look what you can do. Look what you can do. You keep going. Revolution. Fundamental transformation. He is targeting specifically in his speech the youth of Egypt. He's doing it with a CIA director that is getting his information from the media. He is doing it with a national intelligence director who is so clueless on the Muslim Brotherhood that I wouldn't have the guy work at a feed store. And my apologies to feed stores. I wouldn't trust him to get me the right chicken feed. And he's inspiring and encouraging all people, but especially the youth. Make no mistake, you are witnessing the fundamental transformation of the world. Everything that I have said is here and now happening. This is it. And it is the beginning. And you must understand how it's being done. Why are they saying that the Muslim Brotherhood, anybody who fears the Muslim Brotherhood, why are they saying that they are making such an impact? Oh, they're only going to get 10%. Why are they going to make such an impact? Because, quote, according to the New York Times and everyone else, they are the best organized. Now, are you freedom lovers? Are you people who say 1791, our founding fathers, are you organized? I'll give you more information on this. Very important after the break.
Getting back to what you were just talking about with the president's speech yesterday about him reaching out to the young people, and I know nobody else will support you or admit that this is going on.
New York Times did.
Except the New York Times.
New York Times.
And then nobody. How many? By the way, how many people apologized? Chris Matthews, did you hear from him yesterday?
No, it's not.
Surely Bill Kristol called.
Put the story of the New York Times on the front page of glennbeck.com and maybe the Blaze if they find it newsworthy. But make sure that you download that, because them working together with communist and radical Islamicists has been confirmed on yesterday's front page. Nobody is reporting it. There's a front page story that nobody seems to want to do. Front page New York Times yesterday. You must have a copy of it with you, because you have to spread the truth. You have to do it.
I mean, they didn't refer to you, to be clear.
Oh, of course
had
not.
Nothing to do
No.
But
of course
you
not.
give them some credit for actually. I mean, that
Actually
probably
stumbled
wasn't
into
the
it.
story they
They
looked
reported
for.
it.
Yeah, but they stumbled into it, but they still did. They said it was a good thing. They were saying, look, they were doing what the president said yesterday. Look how great this is.
Yeah, and
At least they told the story, though.
And the president is reaching out to young people, telling them how great it is. And there's one little piece at the end. We played this, and I want to go back through it so you can hear the whole thing in context. At the very end, he ties it all together. There's one more little element that you have to hear at the end.
I just want to say that we are following today's events in Egypt very closely. And we'll have more to say as this plays out. But what is absolutely clear is that we are witnessing history unfold. It's a moment of transformation that's taking place because the people of Egypt are calling for change. And they've turned out in extraordinary numbers, representing all ages and all walks of life. But it's young people who've been at the forefront. A new generation, your generation, who want their voices to be heard. And so going forward, we want those young people and we want all Egyptians to know America will continue to do everything that we can to support an orderly and genuine transition to democracy in Egypt.
And?
Now, as we watch what's taking place, we're also reminded that we live in an interconnected world.
I think that's the key that ties it all together. We live in an interconnected world. Isn't that the message here?
No, that's my message.
That you can do exactly what they have done.
Yep. That's been what I've been warning, but no, the president didn't mean it that way. What kind of conspiracy theorist are you, Pat?
Wait, so he's saying...
He's saying that we live in an interconnected world, that there are ramifications to this, that this is going to affect, and he's reaching out to the young people and to all people of Egypt. I'm reaching out to the young people and all the people of Egypt, that we're seeing something happen because they stand up for it, and we live in an interconnected world.
This can happen elsewhere.
This can happen elsewhere.
This can spread.
It's
isn't
exactly
that
what he's
the message?
saying. Yes.
Is it ridiculous to think that that's the message?
It is not. It is not what it is easily said that is. You're putting words in the president's mouth. No, I am taking 2 years of this man's actions, his entire organizing for America. I am looking at this man as a community organizer and realize that we are talking about the fundamental transformation of America and the rest of the world. And I'm looking at a man who has experience as a community organizer and listening to what he says and looking at it from his point of view, not from the typical American point of view, but from his point of view. He was giving a rah-rah speech to community organizers all around the world. That's exactly what that paragraph was all about. Sorry. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist, and you would say whatever you want about me. I don't care. I don't care. But that's what he gave yesterday.
With what? To what end? What he's trying to
encourage.
He's trying to spread democracy around the world.
Spread democracy. And democracy is a code word. We don't have a democracy. American democracy. There is no American democracy. Democracy fails. If you read the words of our founders, they all knew this. Democracy fails.
They called it mob rule.
Yeah, it's mob rule. Exactly what it is. It's what you're going to get in Egypt. They say now that, oh, well, we're not going to have Sharia law, and only 10% of Muslim Brotherhood, that's all they'll be able to get. You mark my words. You are seeing what happened in 1979. It will end the same way as it did in Iran. You're going to have a Sunni and a Shia capital.
Well, I mean, Dianne Feinstein said that the other day when she was talking about how Hamas got elected.
Yes.
That's why I think this is so dangerous, because you don't know what you're going to wind up with yet in Egypt. But we're about to find out.
It doesn't matter. It's not about Egypt.
Oh, I know.
This story is not about Egypt. It is first about the entire Middle East, and then it is about Europe. You have Merkel coming out. You had, what's his name from England? Coming out this week.
Cameron.
You also have Sarkozy coming out yesterday saying this political correct
multiculturalism or whatever.
Yeah, multiculturalism. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. What are they saying? They're saying that we are in trouble. We're in trouble because of multiculturalism. We have done so much damage to ourselves, and we have allowed this stuff to foster and this hatred of us because we've said, oh, we can coexist with it. You cannot coexist. Europe, the leaders of Germany, France, and England, now this week have all given speeches saying we are in trouble. It's coming. They are in trouble. And you can dismiss it as a conspiracy theory, or you can realize that today the IMF is coming out and saying, let's get rid of the dollar. We need something else to replace the dollar. You can listen to George Soros who say, we need a new world order. You can listen to Bill Clinton saying we need a new world order. You can listen to the head of the Islamic Sharia protesters coming out in this country, in England, or in Egypt, all saying we want a new world that is ruled by Islam. You can go and listen to the protesters on the street in Australia, England, or Los Angeles, all saying it's communism. We need a revolution and we need communism. It's all there. All of them want a new world order. Call it whatever each one calls it something different. Each one's going for something different, but they all want the fundamental transformation of America because the fruit is ripe and about to fall off the tree into someone's hands. Now listen, on Monday, I am going to announce something on this program on organization. This is something that I didn't even remember doing this, but I met with a group about a year ago, and it must have been on a bad day, and I said, please tell me how we can connect people without an overlord, without some sort of system where you have to be a member of this group or that group, where people can take charge. Instead, allowing the individuals use the invisible hand of Adam Smith, the individual, the invisible hand of freedom. How can we connect them? Well, they went to work, and they were in my office 2 days ago, and they called for a meeting, and they came into my office, and it was another bad day, and I said, please tell me there is somebody that is organizing people. Somebody, please tell me that someone is spending a ton of money and time studying the systems and the framework of organizing for America, all of this change nonsense, moveon.org. Please tell me there's a freedom lover that is actually doing that. And they got a big smile on their face, and they said, we're here because you said this a year ago. And we left your office and knew you were right, and we have spent a year and an awful lot of money researching and watching and learning and hiring some of the best people we could find to do exactly that. We're here to show you what we've done. On Monday, I'm going to show it to you. It's a game changer. It is organizing for America. Not the fundamental transformation. It is organizing for freedom. And it will not just be American.
Glenn, before you go to break here, 30 seconds on, because the words are so used so interchangeably. You know, you said democracies don't work. The reason why, the founders talked about democracy being mob rule and everything, they were talking about a republic. That's why we are a republic.
Yes.
And I know you've hit that point before, but so many people just look at those words interchangeably, which is why the left uses them like that.
It was a progressive use and a communist use of the word democracy. We never called ourselves democracy until, I think, around Teddy Roosevelt. And, when the socialist progressives and all of that stuff started, that's when they started talking about democracy. And they slowly but surely changed us. We're not a democracy. We are a republic. We have one man, one vote. But then it goes into a system that prevents mob rule.